Well, this is a lesson learned for defense, I think. I know I was a little bit unlucky with rolls. The German rolled some 40% as far as winning a charge assault in several places up here, here, and in any case, I spent 5, I think, or 6 command points to do some firing and some assaulting, and you can see the results is pretty devastating for the American side. This is all established with some infantry, Panther Company. At this point, I'll still play this out, but the American side is going to have to recapture some of these. Now there are a couple Panther units that or one Panther, one Panzer IV unit that I think they're a step loss, and the cohesion hits remain, so they're 1 cohesion hit away from. And if you lose any, I think it's the, let's check. There's 2 points lost for Panzer 130 unit, yeah. And 1 point for other German units. Right now the US has lost 6, so that's 6 victory points. There's 6 here, that's 12. They need 16 or more. I think they may already have it. Let's see, let's quick double check. 1.5, 2.5. They've not captured Iowa yet. 2.5, 3.5. They haven't captured their 1 lone unit, still in improved position here. 1.5, 2.5. Gotta stop recounting. 3, 4, 4.5. Plus 6 is 10.5. 11, 12.5. 13. Actually, we have 9 points down here, right? Yeah, we're already at 16.5 just on victory points, villages, and there's 6 units lost. So it's kind of devastating for the American side. And the besides, some of the luck factor came in play, but a lot of it was I failed to improve positions. I needed to have this a little more. I think they can go in this area. Had them here. Maybe it was. Let's double check the placement of that. But the tank destroyer unit was out of place. I'm not sure why I decided to put that there within 2 thoraxes of 3407. That's right here. And so 1, 2 probably should have been here, stopping this area. That avenue of attack. In any case, I was able to move it into that position. Even with a hero, it's still lost on some bad rolls. So that was the division activation chit for the German. As I said, I spent 5 or 6 command points to do some attacks, fire attacks and assaults, and there's some spotty units holding out. This one's probably just going to be ignored up here. Here, and there. And then reinforcements waiting to come on. Sorry about the glare. Here and over here. And the next chit draw is direct command for the US. That's not as helpful as you might think. And the one thing about the direct command, you can't do improve positions, so it won't help that way. We'll see. Well, since I can't entrench, I didn't do a lot. I did fire one shot here because they have a cohesion hit and wanted to get another one, but no effect. And then I drew the direct command for German, and German only has 3 points. So we'll probably might try an assault up here. Maybe some fire. Well, I can only do one action per unit, so might do some firing. We'll see, and show you the results. And did a couple of firing or one assault attempt here, but couldn't pass the bravery check. I do want to make note of something in this scenario, just something to think about as the American, because these cav units, it's interesting, if you flip them to the Jeep side, they've got a fire of 2 and they can opportunity fire. When they're here, obviously they're easier to attack because there's only a +1 for defense, but let's get focus there. Come on. Focus +1. And then this -1 is flipped, so it's better in defense, but the problem is if you are on this side, you cannot opportunity fire because they are light mortars, and any type of mortar are not going to be able to opportunity fire. And that's what happened too with one of the tank units. I moved around here. I don't know where that was. There was a defending unit, might have been over here. Oops, let's go back. Over here, and I moved one of the Panthers, I think it was this one, down to the 3-point victory village, and I could go right around here and there's no opportunity fire, so I went into column, went around, came out, and I'm still in column because I have to be, because it's a town, not a village. So that was it for direct command. Not a whole lot going on for both of those chits. And the next one is finally Cavalry Corps. I would have liked the division chit for the US side, but we'll see what we can do now. Okay, a few things I could do here with the US side. Actually rolled for an improved position there, something I should have been doing a long time ago. I got an improved position here, even with the -1. Remember, improved position, you can't spend a command point for the TQ check, and you do have to roll for TQ check, and this is only a 5. If you zoom in here, that's only a 5, and then it's a -1 for being under a barrage. So it did, I think it rolled a 2. And you can only do those for leg units. Although an engineer could do one for another unit, but I don't have any engineers to. And then I moved up and fired. I actually got a cohesion hit on this mortar. So that's something. And the next chit is hoping for the US Division random event. And the roll is a 7, which is random event 7. American intelligence. American may add 2 command points and 1 dispatch point to any one division. Oh, that's helpful. So now they're up to 4 and 1 this dispatch point. Okay, we only have 2 chits left, and it should be a division activation, or the activation for the 901st Regiment of the German. So if it's the 901st, it's almost over. Okay, 50-50 shot. American has no luck. That means division activation Chit. So that I do not get to bring on these reinforcements because I did not get the division activation. It'll be first next turn, but I think by then it's going to be too late. So we'll come back after the 901st has done its moves. Well, as I suspected, I only had 1 command point for the left for the German side, so not all happened. I did get a cohesion hit on this with some fire from this flak unit. But other than that, not a lot of movement. It doesn't really have to do a lot of movement. I did move this one in. Nothing happening there. The biggest effect of that draw was the fact that the US did not get division activation. So now it's the beginning of the last turn, and it is, I believe, overcast with no effects on the rain mud scale. So, but it is overcast. So we'll take these off, and I think that's all I need to do. And then we know it's the division activation for US side, so they'll get to have their reinforcements along with some other reinforcements because they're coming on this turn as well. So they'll get a lot of units. I think this still could be interesting if, with the division activation, they'll at least have a chance to cut off, pull back a little bit, they'll be able to cut off here. They'll be able to take that victory point. We'll see, but there may be some things that the US can do to prevent the German from reinforcing down here. And then if they can manage to take some of those back, this might still, there's no way the US can get a victory, but maybe we can get it down to draw, even with my poor defense play. We'll see. Okay, I just want to quick interject here. Looking ahead of this turn, this still could be interesting. At least the US can make it somewhat interesting. And the reason for that is the Germans did not, because they don't have, they only have 1 dispatch point. And because of that, they can't, there are no more turns after this. And they would have to pay 2 dispatch points. And they don't, that's something I didn't think about. I have to keep that in mind, that in these 2.0 rules, you can pay 2 points of command to buy a dispatch point. So if I had done that, if I would have saved, instead of wasting command points, I wasted probably a few command points that I didn't really need to. I could have managed at least 1 of these formation activations to throw in for this turn, and now I don't have enough. So we've made our big push on the first 2 turns. They were activated quite a few times. Where on the other hand, the US side does get to buy 1 activation for one of the regiments, their formations. So I put in this one. This has the most units, and I think I haven't rolled for command points yet. I have 3 right now, and I could have up to 5. Could have up to 8 more. We'll do the roll right now. Let's see where that's at. Oh, good roll. That's 4 plus command rating of 3. That's 7. So the US has 10 command points. So there's enough to do some damage if we do it the right way. So these 4 formations are not going to be drawn this turn, because I can't afford to put any of them in. All right, let's look at this division activation by the US. Okay, with the division activation, this is the end of, or those are results of movement. Again, notice you can't, everybody started either here or here. There's a group here that went this way towards the Victory Point village. And then this group is holding up at Kierberg. And they can't, none of these groups that are entering, including over here with the, what is it, the 114th, they can't spend any command points to do a second action because they're not in command when they come in. I guess I can see reinforcements. Let's say it's the first time a regiment is or a formation is coming onto the board as reinforcements, and they've got their commander coming with them. You know, I guess I can see the logic that basically their orders are to enter the field of battle and either shore up certain areas or travel to some areas where they're going to need to set up some kind of offensive action. And so that initial formation entering with their leader isn't going to be able to do any firing. They're not going to be able to do any assaulting, because that's just that initial reinforcement phase for them. Now, let's say that, and that would have happened if I had gotten the division activation last turn, because these units here and a few of these 114th were supposed to come on this turn, not last turn. So they could have, we would have already had a commander in play. So there are extra units coming on from that formation. They could have moved as part of the division activation and then used command points if they were within range of the commander. So that's how that works, and I guess that makes sense to me. Maybe some people might disagree, but that's one thing I initially, when I started this scenario, I just forgot, as moving the German, initially you're pretty much just doing movement. There's not going to be any artillery barrages. You don't have any units or commanders on the field. So you're just moving units and getting into position, that's it. And then you have to wait for the next activation, whether it's formation or another division or direct command. So this is the position we're in right now. These units are ready to assault Ralvule, and these units are on the defense. I think they should be able to hold that, because, and I may even be able to hold up here, because the German is not going to have a ton of things to be able to do since they don't have any formation activations this turn. And I'm hoping I can capture this, so it might be closer than I think. We'll see again. Just to show what happened here, this German unit was in improved position, and I threw some a light barrage on here with my mortar unit, and then attacked with this anti-tank gun, and it managed a suppression question mark, And then I rolled, it failed that, so it became a suppression, and then it rolled to change the suppression to a cohesion hip, and then I realized I wanted to spend a command point. I don't have any command points, and my commander's out of reach, so there's another reason to save some command points for times like these. Sometimes you can't, though. Especially with German, I think you have to push, but got overextended, and then this became suppressed, and then the tank destroyer unit, I have to check that. I think he has to be in column. I don't think it would have affected anything. He didn't get any hits on here, but he did roll his rolled his assault or bravery check fine, and then on the subsequent rolled that wise. That's why I was showing an 8, because the German unit rolled an 8 on the assault and failed. So this goes away, this stays. The tank destroyer has now recaptured the Rauviller, and we've eliminated a German unit, which makes a difference. That's 1 point. These are the ones, this Panzer 130, they're the ones that are worth two victory points for the American side if you eliminate them. Okay, so we've captured the Rauviller, and we'll move on. Okay, another quick interjection, and actually this is the end of my activation for the 71st Infantry Regiment. A couple things here. First of all, and I didn't look closely at when I initially looked at the reinforcements. These are light mortar units. They are not very strong. Fortunately, there was a tank destroyer that was able to come in here and take this town. They're not going to be able to pass bravery checks very well. And they're probably not going to be able to defend that well, but we might not have to. Time might run out, and the Germans retaking these two spots. But they also have no vehicles, so they're all walking and leg units on both sides. So you can't get very far. That's really the best you can do is on the US side. You're not going to be able to get up in this area. And then over, now that this part of the turn is done, I was going to check check 2 on this. This is a light brown. Actually, wait. Boy, this is hard to tell. Yeah, well, yeah, that's an orchard. Okay, I'm going to zoom in and show you here the difference. This is the light tan. This is considered a village. This, even though there's less, so we can get up here, there's less building areas. That is a darker brown. That is a considered, what do they call it, a town. There are no cities here. So this is a town. That one you need to be in column. That's why this Panther unit is in column. So I don't need to be in, oops, let's go back. I don't need to be in column in here, so I took it off. And then another little, you look at let's zoom in on an orchard quick. There's another lighter shade of tan that's, you can see it's an orchard hex, but if you were just going by the center dots, there's not a lot of difference in those tints. You have to look carefully between the village and the town hexes. Okay, so next chit draw is direct action for the German. And problem is the German does not have any command points, so we're just going to skip that. German needed to have a division activation, and they get it next. So now they'll roll for dispatch points, which are kind of moot. 2, so they do gain. They gain 1, but that's not really going to matter. And then command points, they have command rating of 5 plus 3. No, plus 1. Sorry, 6 points. So they have 6 points to spend on the division activation. And there is no, the only 2 left are the random events and the direct command for the US side. Let's take a second and actually count up where the points stand as of right now. And then we'll take a look at see if the German can hold on or they need to do something extra for the win. Okay, after all said and done, I believe the Germans have 18.5 points, which would be a victory. So they need to hold. If they lose either one of these towns, they will go to a draw. Unless they capture. Now if they captured this one, that would be that. Oops, let's go back up. If they capture Eiviller, that would make it tough for the US side. So I think I'm going to aim for, because it's a direct command, I have to see if I'm 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, he's out of range. So I can't do anything there. Oh wait, no, that's not direct command, it's division activation. But I still can't. I'd have to pay a movement point for my commander to move with a unit. I'd have to do a pass and then a move. To get him within range and then spend another point. I've got 6 points. So let's see what I figure out here. Okay, German division activation resulted in some movement down here to reinforce this area. I couldn't get directly into the town because I can't move into range. I did move a Panther company here, and if somebody's trying to assault from here, actually, if they're trying to assault from here, this will affect that assault because it's within range, and it can use its defense instead of, although now I've got 2 cohesion hits. The defense is down to 2, but it's still better than this one. So that'll help. I'm not sure if and actually, yeah, I think I can see what's coming, and I made a mistake in my logic, but I'll show you that in a second. But this, the problem is the German tried to, because it has the same stupid person on both sides, tried to attack this unit, this hex, to gain it back. If they had gotten that 2 and eliminated that, that would have been 3 victory points, and then it wouldn't matter down in the southeast corner. But what happened is this unit ended up getting a cohesion hit on the subsequent assault. Rolled a 0 with this unit, and then he was eliminated. So that's actually 2 victory points because it's a Panzer 130. So that was a 4 victory point swing. And now the last chit, really the only chance here, if it's a random event, it's over. And the chit is direct command. This is where I made the mistake. I don't think this is going to be what I had hoped. And the reason I say that, direct command, I can move these units in, but since they can't assault, they can't do more than one action on direct command. They can only do one action. All they can do is move in. I can throw some barrages on here. I can't take over this hex. So game might be over. I'll count up and see where the points are. Okay, well, if I'd let well enough alone and actually done absolutely nothing for the German side, they would have won, because they have, I believe it was 18 points, counting these. Let's get rid of this glare. 18 points, including these. They had 12 victory points, 6 units eliminated of the US side, so that makes 18. This was eliminated. Now we're down to 17. And since this is worth 2 points, that's 15. So if I was playing in a tournament, I probably would have taken a little more thought and said, no, we don't really need to do that on this hex up here. Right here. Didn't need that, because if I don't lose that, I would have had 17 points, and the US has no way of capturing this hex here worth 3 points. There's no way. And I don't think the US, I mean, there's a point up here, but that's been left open, but I can't really reach that in any way by the US side. So I guess and they obviously, the American side can't get to an actual win, but they barely got a draw with some poor play. And I think in conclusion with the scenario, it's a fun scenario. It's a good learning scenario with the whole map. It gives you a good path to learning the ins and outs of each of the activations and how they work together, and how the really important part of this, I think, is the sequence of activation. That's where the chit draw comes into play. And I mean, it really would have been crazy if there was some way I might have been able to put both of these formations into play in the last turn. Then it would have been even more interesting. But as it was, the Germans should have won this game on the poor play of the defense at the very beginning. Again, that the US is left with not a lot of great units. These end up, especially when you're talking about rain and night, these basically have a fire factor or fire roll of 0. And then these units here are not great on the offense. They're a little better on the defense. With here, you at least have a 2, and you can do opportunity fire if they're on this side. You can't do any opportunity fire with this. So their only chore is really to hold some victory positions for a little while and delay. And I didn't really do that very well. Even though the American got to a draw, they shouldn't have been at a draw. If I would have looked carefully, the German would have won this game if I hadn't done this attack. That was not needed. So, cool little scenario, and hope you enjoyed walking it through with me if you lasted to the end, or you can skip around and see some of the, I'll try to put a timeline on so you can skip if you choose to do so. So thanks, and we'll see you the next time around. Bye. Do a quick addendum to this scenario, and something I wanted to correct about the actual chance of capturing this village without having an actual activation chit. And the way that could have happened is by this. First of all, one thing you have to be careful about in this game, and probably most games of this nature, but spreading yourself too thin or sending units to places where they're really not going to have a great effect. In this game in particular, you really have to think ahead. It's not a matter of you've got a bunch of units, you move the units, you attack, you wait for the next time you get to move. There's so many layers to it. And so if you're not thinking ahead, you're really wasting some both activations and command points. So here's how I could have captured this. It's not going to be a huge chance, but it would have been a chance. Again, this would have been on a direct action chit, a direct command that I had very last turn. I think the random event was the one that was left in the cup. So this should not have been moved over in this area. We should have focused everything here. And if I had gotten this somewhere, it doesn't really matter. These could be back. If I got to here, now I could lay barrage with these. It's really not going to be for the barrage, but on every single roll, I could have spent, I had enough command points. I think I had 6 or 7, so I had plenty of command points. But I could have fired with these AT guns. That's one chance. I think it would have been a roll, since they're armor piercing against unarmored, I would have had to roll 0. So I would have had to roll 0 here. That's one chance for cohesion hit. These 2 mortars each would have to have rolled a 0 for a cohesion hit. So there's 3 chances for a cohesion hit. Granted, it's only 10%. But with this, if I had fired, been able to fire, and it was close enough, it has a range of 4. I think 6 minus the range difference, so that's -1, that's down to 5. And then defense is 0, but there is 2 for this town, because this one is a town. So you're at 5, that would be 3. And on dual purpose against unarmored target, a 3 would be a cohesion hit, but a 0 would be a 1 step. So I could have had, I guess if you look at it this way, well, I would have had to, I mean, I would have had to have a 3 on 1, or I think 4 cohesion hits does it. So 2, third one would be a step loss, and a 4th one would be the second step loss. So I'd have to have 4 cohesion hits, or a step loss and 3. So it really doesn't matter. But at least it would have been a chance. It's like Dumb and Dumber. So you say there's a chance. And then if they eliminate this unit, and they would have had to eliminated this unit by fire, then I could have moved in to here. On a direct command, they can move into a firing zone another unit. So that's the only way it could have won. The obvious way to win, though, is to have enough save enough command points so you can change 2 command points to a dispatch point, and then hopefully you have enough. You need 4 dispatch points on the US side to get those 2 in, so to be guaranteed. Well, of course, even then it's not guaranteed, because if it's the last chit, it won't be used. But lessons learned. The way I would do this differently with the US side is do more attempts to dig in, get the tank destroyer over here, plan better for the US when the reinforcements come in. I think they can do it to a draw with decent rolls. It doesn't have to be crazy rolls, but I'm not sure how easy it would be. Well, it would never be easy, but I'm not sure about what a great chance there is for the US to win, unless they're getting some pretty good rolls, or the German is getting some very poor rolls. But again, biggest thing to learn about this game is planning ahead. Plan, and know what you can and can't do on each of these activations. If you look down here, every one of those has a different feel to it. The only one that really is wide open are these activations, formation, and even then you have to have enough command points to use for second actions if necessary. But all right, that is the end of the second scenario. Hope to play some more. Not sure that I'll do any more blogging of this this particular module, but it's been fun. Hope you've learned something. I've definitely learned something, and I will carry it with me in the next few games. Thanks for watching. Bye.